Go for it.
Okay,
Go for it.
so yeah, so my question is around, I have two questions. So I can ask one now and then one later, but yeah. So the first question is really around any sort of ADM certification that you would recommend, Femi, for us. And then the second bit is around what does like in terms of a role as an ADM, I know we've sort of, as some of our role is similar to Scrum Masters, but what would you say is like a highlight in like the first 30 days of an ADM role will be the main things that we need to do? So two questions. Thank you.
All right. Good question. The first one you ask is about certification. Now, as an ADM, at the moment, you find that most of the certification that has to do with maybe professional Scrum Master, Agile Project management, Prince 2 does Agile, Prince 2 Agile Project Management. I'm sure you know about that, right? Then there are other certifications that you could find, like Advanced Scrum Master with SAFe. And then you find SAFe Product Owner, Product Manager certification as well. Those are some of the certification. I know that now some would carve out things to say delivery management, but most of the things you will find there are things around the Scrum Master role combined with that of Agile Project Management. Did that answer your question? Nobody is going to ask you specifically to go and get delivery management certification. No one would ask specifically for that. Okay? At least not at the moment.
Okay, thank you.
The second one is about the highlights for a delivery manager. Now, a Scrum Master, a delivery manager, like I said, is a role that extends beyond just the scope of Scrum Master. You see, when we say Scrum Master, a Scrum Master is a facilitator. Does that make sense? The primary definition of a Scrum Master is a facilitator. But the definition of a delivery manager goes beyond facilitating. As a delivery manager, you facilitate stuff, but you also plan end-to-end delivery of the products. And that's why you will find out now that some organizations would rather have a delivery manager than to have a Scrum Master. If you go to any government organization, mostly now they use the word delivery manager rather than Scrum Master. Some of them will still use Scrum Master. The reason they ask for delivery manager is because they want somebody that will be involved in the planning, somebody that will be involved in the release of the product. Not just that you only see to the development cycle. You see, most role of a Scrum Master takes place during the development, when the team is developing. When the moment the team finishes developing, some Scrum Master do not know part of what I was teaching you last week about the release process. You remember last week I took you through release process? Do you remember? Are you guys hearing me, or am I just talking to myself?
We can hear you, Femi, yes.
We can hear you.
Okay, all right. So most Scrum Masters release management processes beyond them because they may not understand it. All they understand will be the planning, to organize planning session, facilitate that, daily stand-up, facilitating that, and also review meeting. Then they look into retrospective, and they look into refinement session, things that go around the development cycle. But once it goes beyond that, once the work is finished and the development is completed, another process starts. And that new process is the release process. Also, as a delivery manager, you are supposed to know about the resources working on the program and how much they are costing. So, but some organizations wouldn't really give you too much of that if they have like a program manager or if they have a delivery lead. The delivery lead will look into the budgeting for all of you. But where there is nothing like that, you will be the one that is responsible for it. Did that answer your question?
Yes, thank you very much.
You're welcome. Kemi, go for yours.
Okay, so two questions again. We've got an ask from Deji where she said we should speak to you because we're going into our last 2 weeks of our last sprint, basically last 2 weeks, and we've been told that we need to look into release management and how to wrap up, close the project. So Deji has said that we should discuss with you for you to give us some pointers, direction on what are the sorts of things we need to do to cover both things. So the first question is, can you give us some guidance on what we need to look into to do that? But then my second question is, when I was doing some reading up on release management to see what it's about, I've seen the cycle, but where I'm getting lost is at the beginning, where you have new feature or request for change, and how that, I guess maybe just in my head, attaches to we've built an increment, and at what point do you then connect with the release managers to let them know that what you're building is a new feature that is going to come in? I'm missing that connection in the reading that I've done so far as to how it kind of feeds into each other, and at what point do you let them know as you're starting the software build from the beginning, or what exactly? Or when exactly, sorry. So those are my two questions.
Okay, good questions. Now, I didn't even know you would ask this when I spoke about the release management. I've touched on release management with you guys last week. And that's why I said, whatever I've taught you, if it's not clear, tell me. And then I can explain to you on how to go about it again. The process of release management is what I was explaining to you to say that if you have 3 stages or 4 stages, you remember when I said you could cut the last stage to be what? You could call it release, or you could call it deploy and close.
Yeah.
Do you remember?
Yeah.
And I said to you, I said that there are different things that need to happen when it comes to release management. Release management starts when you have finished your build. You've collected what you want to build, everything. You remember you've been building per sprint, right? Some of those things need to come together. I'll give you an example. You all know about fashion, isn't it? You know about suits, you know about jackets, you know about dresses for wedding. So let's use wedding as an example, okay? For sprint 1, let's say what you have worked on is cutting of the wedding dress. You know that what we've done is we know that we need a wedding dress for Kemi, okay? And we know we've taken measurements. We've taken the measurement of Kemi. Now, what we do in Agile is this. We don't want to sit down and sew it at once. So what we try to do is, for the first sprint, for the first 2 weeks, we've tried to cut the clothes. And we want to be sure that is the right size, the right measurement that we cut for Kemi and other bridesmaids. Does that make sense? Huh?
Yes.
Yeah.
Sprint 2, we started to sew. We decided to concentrate on the body of the gown. That was what we concentrated on sprint 2. Now, as we did it in sprint 1, we did the cutting. In sprint 2, we did the sewing. After we did the sewing, we will still check to be sure that what we sew is what the measurement is saying, isn't it? We will test it together. Now, as we've done that, we know we've completed something. We're making progress and we're happy that we're doing well. Now, sprint 3, we decided to add the arms to it. All right? To add the arms and to add, maybe the back or something to it. All right? When we added the arms, we added the back, we added the zipper at the back, we checked it and we showed it to you. And you looked at it and said, guys, I like these zippers. I like the way you make this arm. It's transparent. I love it. Or you may come and say, I don't like this hand at all. Why would you give me this hand? This is not transparent now. My lovely skin will not show. Do you understand what I'm saying, Kemi?
Yes.
If you give us that, let's say you give us that as a feedback, what are we going to do? Would we continue to sew it? Would we just give it to you like that?
No, you make adjustments.
We make adjustment. Or if you are happy with it, we make sure, okay, that's good. Our client is very happy. Kemi is happy with the dress. Now, maybe the 4th sprint, it is stones now that we need to add. Does that make sense? We want to add stone to set it the way you want it to be on the clothes. But you know that everything at the end of the day is we're making wedding dress. Does that make sense?
Yes.
After we have done everything, we would need to test it all together to make the measurement and be sure it's all worth it. Everything, we will check the measurement of other bridesmaids to be sure, this is good, this is good. We would all now check it. We may get people that will wear the clothes pretending to be Kemi if we don't want you to see it yet. There are people that they will hire them to wear clothes so that we would know what it looks like, isn't it? Right?
Yes.
So when we get those people, those are the people that you may say they are doing user acceptance testing for us. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Huh?
Yes, it does.
But those people would not try anything until we have combined everything together. So in development, in software development, we complete everything. We would have done our system integration test. We've done everything. We see that then we move it to an environment and that's why we have different environment that I was explaining to you last week. We spoke about different environment, right? And that's why I said to you that then we may then move it away from test environment to pre-prod. All right? So before we now say, we're now in pre-prod, or for some organizations that have different environments, like Barclays has about 5 to 6 environments. But some organizations can't afford it. When I was with Metro Bank, we only had 3 environments. In fact, initially they had 2. We had to fight. I had to tell them, no, guys. Why would you have 2 environments? Big bank. What's wrong with you guys? No, we can't keep. So we had 3. We were going to, and I insisted we need to have the 4th one. And they said, Femi, do you know this will cost us money? I said, well, it's better it costs you money than for it to cost you for it to be a waste after you've done everything that you've done and it's not properly tested. Do you get what I mean? Right? So now in release management, we start the cycle of, and it varies from organization to organization. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So for some organizations, you would have what we were saying the other time. You could have, plan, do, check, adjust. For some, you may not. For some, they may just tell you, don't worry, just do the fast role that we say that we want to do. So they look into the change. They say, okay, have we done system integration testing? Yes. Now, when you look at the release, you have what we call the release plan. You are sure that the software is built in that plan. You are sure that it's been tested, they've released it, it's tested, they've deployed it. Now you want to check people that would also look through it to be sure that, okay, you guys have tested this. Who are the people that will use it? Sometimes it could be the people that will call support that will come in to help us. Do you understand? The support are those people that when you, for example, now, if you call, if you call BT, there are people that will pick up the phone. If you call Vodafone and you tell them something, what would they do? They will go into your account. When they go into your account, they will tell you, I'm not allowed to give you a discount more than this, more than this. Those are people that are using it. Do you understand what I'm saying? Huh? Yeah. Sometimes we need people from that place to be able to help us as users to test what we have released, because they are the ones using it to be able to serve customers. So we would go through all of those. The changes, when we talk of changes has to do with before we move anything from one environment to the other, we seek approval. Does that make sense?
Yes. Yeah.
Before I move from this environment, maybe, once you start work, some of these things I'm saying would come alive to many of you more than I'm saying it. You are not the one to do the changes. Don't forget, it's the technical guys that will do the changes. All they will do is do some coding, move things from one environment to the other, do this, do that. But before they move from that environment to another one, you would need approval. For example, before you will move from test environment to pre-prod environment, you will need approval. You will need approval that the system integration test has been done and the people responsible. And that's why you have a test manager that coordinates some of those activities. Okay. And as the delivery manager, you would be asking the test man, have we done this? Have we done that? It's not your role to do it, Kemi.
Okay.
Your role is to coordinate it and make sure it happens. Do you get it now?
Yes.
So now, in some cases, it might be that you need to write emails to some people. We might have like selected people, like 35 people, 50 people, or we might have just 3 or 5 people or 4 people that must give approval. But you must make sure those people give approval to say, yes, I'm happy for this thing to go live. Then there is what we call go, no go.
Yes.
You then set up a meeting, go, no go meeting. In that go, no go meeting, you will present everything that you have done. And everybody that you've invited to that go, no go meeting will say, we're happy. If any of them say they are not happy, you can't go. That's why we call go, no go. Okay. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So all of those things would now lead the tech lead or whoever is in charge of changing the code from one to do that. They will now say, oh, we've made the changes. Oh, we've moved it in from test to pre-prod. Then, when they want to move it from pre-prod to prod, you would also need to make sure everything works well to cover your back. So once they move it to production environment, is as good as in live.
Right.
All those environments are places where you see changes happening. And then you ask, if they now say it's in production and you are testing it, it doesn't show like production. I remember when I was with HSBC, all right? One of the guys that was working with me, he has a card that the bank gave him. He has access to that bank, to that account. And in that account, I think they put about 250,000 pounds. So sometimes we'll be joking. And I'll tell him, don't you think we should just take this 250,000 and you can run away? He's an Indian guy. And so I say, boss, what are you saying? You know, the reason they put that money is because they want him to go and test it as though he's a customer. He will take the card. If there is anything we want to test, we have what we call the happy path. We have what we call the unhappy path. He will go and test it. If that thing allows him to withdraw more than what he should withdraw, we're in trouble.
Okay.
If it can't give him what we want it to give him, we're in trouble. That's why we need representational on all of those stages. I hope that's very clear to you guys now. I can't explain it. This is a class. I can't explain it more than this. All right? But it's something that you sit down and break down, you know, at some points. And you will get to know it better. All right?
Okay.
Clear? I'm sure it's clear now.
Yes.
Any other thing?
So for us to, so basically as we're wrapping up our project now, and we need to handle the release basically according to DG, what we need to do is to, if I'm thinking about this right, we need to find out who in Blue Sky is sort of like the release, who handled the releases, the release manager, so that we can start to talk to them about the increments we've built. And let them check it. Obviously, they need to check it. Have you done this? Let's see what you've built. So that we can
No. You don't need to tell them about the increment. You don't need to tell them about the sprint.
No,
You
to
see?
give them what we've built. This is the site.
Yes, you
that
just
we've
need
built.
to tell them technically this is what we have built.
And that's what we are coming for, to request that this is what we've built that we want released.
Exactly.
And then we start to step through the release management cycle, which is basically they'll look at it, the plan, how that is going to, you know, make sure it is what it is, and plan out the release.
They will look at it that once they release what you have,
yes,
to the environment that belongs to everybody, it will not spoil anything.
It won't spoil anything.
That's what we call break. We will want to know that it's not going to break anything. So they would ask you, have you tested it? Have you done system integration testing? So okay, it's been tested. Okay, what is the feature? What are you releasing itself? What is it going to do? How will it add to what? For example, we have a website and you guys have something, maybe you are working on the checkout. Maybe there's a feature on checkout that you want to release. Because on that same website, you would have a team that is doing checkout. You may have another team that is handling frequently asked questions. You may have another team that is handling returns. You may have another team that is handling, you may have different teams doing different things on the same website.
Okay.
So if you want to release a feature under, let's say under checkout, we want to know what's the feature. Is it add credit card or is it remove credit card? Is it use debit card that you want? We want to know, and we want to be sure that you've tested that is going to be compatible with other things, not just that you are releasing rubbish because we have things in live.
Okay.
It's a website that people are already using. It's not a dummy website. If you just release anything and it breaks things, it means it would affect everything for everybody.
Oh, okay. Is that why sometimes as well, when you talk to release managers, sometimes you come with your features and they kind of slot it into batches. They do the release
Exactly.
batches to say,
yes,
these ones can go at this time from what they've checked because these ones are fine. This will have to come after because they've checked everything to be sure it doesn't disrupt the live environment. Okay.
Exactly. And they would also want to be sure that in priority order, what you are bringing is priority for them now. Because they will want to know that, okay, what value is this going to give to our customer? Because they are looking at the website, but you are looking at your part of checkout, for example.
Okay.
But they are looking at the wedding in entirety. You are looking at, I'm the caterer. I must make food. I'm the person that is looking into the hall. The auditorium must be designed. We need the design. They are looking at the wedding. So if you are telling them, I want to go and decorate the hall now, they may tell you, wait a minute. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, yes.
They may tell you, why are you decorating okay, you will decorate the hall, but not now. The most important thing for us now is to get the wedding dresses ready and to get the suit ready. Let's see that those things are live. The husband and wife have tested it before we even talk of decorating any hall. Get your balloons, get everything ready. Once it's time for you to do that, we will let you know. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So they have different cues like that.
Okay.
Huh?
Okay.
Any other question?
I know just someone raised their hand before and put it down. I don't know if it was a question relating to this release management you had.
Yeah.
Okay, go on, please.
That has been answered already.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I think the other half of the question was now that we're coming to the end of the project, if you could give us some guidance, what are the sorts of things, aside from the release management, obviously, what are the other things we need to do to be sure that we are closing down the project properly? Hello?
Oh, sorry. I was talking. I
Okay.
didn't know I was muted. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
After the release, you still need to go through the closure of the project. And closure of the project is work in itself. Does that make sense? You've got to make sure that all the documentation that you need to put in are ready. They are all there. And everything is archived where it should be. You've got to be sure that you have your lessons learned. The reports you've got to archive everything, make sure you put it where it should be on the repository so that any other projects that come can see. And then you've got to do your balance sheet. You've got to see that the amount you are given, you need to look through it. How much did I spend? How much do we have left? Did we deliver in time? Did we spend more than we should? Did we spend less? We need to know. And you need to get a feedback form from your users, from your business, to say that, okay, this product, we've tested it, it's good, we've used it, we are satisfied. Or, no, we're not satisfied. We've just wasted money on this. Next time we need improvement here and here and here and here. Does that make sense? Listen, lessons continue. After you finish this, you still have a lot to learn in it, but you can see that you've learned a lot.
Okay.
I'm sure you guys know that you've learned a lot, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's easy to teach you because most of you were willing to learn. And I want to believe that you would then keep learning and keep learning and keep learning. Learning doesn't stop here. You've just started it. Am I making sense to you?
Yeah.
So after now, get mentoring. You've finished, get mentoring, keep going, don't stop. Get somebody to mentor you. Get somebody to look through what it may cost you. Mentoring is not cheap. Some good mentors will tell you £500 per month. Some will tell you £300 per month. Some will tell you £250 per month. But you need it so that can guide you into getting the job. After you've gotten the job, you are settled in the job. They are able to guide you to retain the job. It's one thing to get a job. It's another thing to be able to keep the job. I hope you understand what I mean.
Yes, true.
Yeah.
Very
And
true.
it's when you get the job that you then feel the pressure. Everything that I'm teaching you will now start to come to light. You say, oh my God, that's what Femi was saying. Oh God, okay. How do I do this now? Does that make sense?
Yes, yes, it does. Yes, it does.
Any other question?
Those were my two questions. I don't know if anyone else has. You can come off mute. Thank you, Femi.
You're welcome.
Good evening, Femi. Good evening, everybody. Sorry, I was on my way home, so I couldn't
Good
speak.
evening. Is this Isaac, right?
Yes, this is Isaac.
Okay. Hi.
Hi. So, my question is regarding the repository. I understand that we can store the codes for the project for future purposes. So I just wanted to find out how we can go about that.
When it comes to code, that's not your territory. As a delivery manager, what you want to ensure is that they are keeping the code where it should be. Some will use GitHub, some will use GitLab, some will use this, they will use that. Some that are into DevOps, they will make it go through DevOps. What you want to ensure is that your team is keeping the repository for their code. When we talk of repository for project management, it's not the same as that of the code for the developers. Does that make sense, Isaac? Hello, can you hear me? Guys?
Yeah, you can
Or
hear
am
you.
I talking to myself?
No.
Yes, it does.
Okay, they are two different worlds. They are not the same. The one for the developers is not your headache. It's just to ensure that they have it. Because you don't know about their coding. But when it comes to your own repository, all the artifacts that you have, you want to make sure all the meetings, the meeting minutes, when you have meetings, as a delivery manager, you want to make sure you take minutes. And you want to make sure that you store it somewhere to say, at this meeting, we agreed this, we agreed this, we agreed that way. In case somebody comes later to say, when did we agree that? All right. Now, all the other, like your risk log, that's your rates log, your risk issue assumptions and all, and some other things that you have, you want to make sure you keep them in a designated repository page. It could be Confluence. It could be in Azure DevOps, as you guys are using now. It could be wherever it is. But you want to make sure that all those things are up to date so that when you leave the project, anybody can come there later and see the work that has been done. But when it comes to code, that's not for you. That will be for the technical guys. And they will not give you access to the coding because you don't know about their code so that you don't mess it up. That's why there are different rights for different people within the organization. So don't go to work and ask them for access to code because you don't know the code. Anything you put there can cause trouble. In Python, there are many things that are sensitive. In Python, if we put capital letter where we're not supposed to put capital letter, it will throw error message. If there's some people that ordinary to say, oh, print. If we put print and we don't know, everything may throw an error message and somebody would have to go through it again to know. And we may not know, somebody mistakenly just put a capital letter somewhere, or where you are supposed to put an hyphen, you didn't put hyphen, or where you are supposed to put colon, you don't put it. All the things that are the structure gets disrupted and things like that. It can disrupt everything for us. And it can change an entire algorithm. So that's the reason we don't, you just face your angle, leave them to face the angle. Your own is to coordinate and be sure that the activities take place. So when they ask you about any technical thing, you bring your technical guy. Don't go there to be the technical guru. Are you with me? Yes. If they're having release management and they're asking about what was released, what you did, what changes do you make, don't go there to try to do macho when you don't know what they go with your technical guy to the meeting. So that when they are asking, he's able to say, oh, no, we made the changes at this end. Oh, we changed, no, it was just the URL that we changed. The endpoint is now connecting to the outside thing. They will do all those. Then you will be listening and be learning. But if you go there, you will mess yourself up if they're asking you questions and you can't answer it.
Mm.
Have I helped you?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Just a quick question. Let me just add into Isaac's question. So can we use something like Jira to store the information? You mentioned Confluence. Can we use Jira, or does it have to be Confluence or Azure Double?
We can use Jira, but Jira is prioritization tool. Jira is a place where we prioritize work. It's not a place where we keep assets or keep documents. We don't keep documentations on Jira. User stories and all are what you have on your Jira. It doesn't mean we can't use Jira. We can use Jira for our risk blog. We can use it for anything, but it is mostly the most effective way to use Jira is for us to use it for prioritization. If you use Jira, when we use Jira for rates log, for risk and issue, it's because we want to be tracking it. And we'll be tracking it to say, oh, this is closed, this is open, this is closed, that's open. Oh, that should be closed by end of so month or week. That's the reason we use Jira to do that. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So we can track it, but it's not for us to keep it there as a repository. Our Jira is always there. But you realize that once you finish your sprint and you close the sprint, the stories disappear. Jira automatically archives it until you go to your reports. It archives it. You now go to your report to go and search for that thing at reports. That's when you can see those stories or you query it.
Okay.
So that's why when you go to Jira, what you have finished, if you go there, you won't see the sprint anymore. And you say, but where is my sprint? Oh, I'm looking. No. Automatically, Jira is designed to archive once you finish the work. Okay?
Okay.
You guys really need to pay Blue Sky especially for this training you are getting.
We've paid
Huh?
We've paid already.
You need to pay them specially for what you are getting. You won't get
let's
these outside.
let's get job first with it. Then
You won't get these outside. You should pay them specially for the training you've gotten. You guys have really gained a lot, I'm telling you.
okay.
I think Dale has a hand up.
Pardon?
Dale has a hand raised. Dale.
Hi, Dale.
Hi, Femi. Thank you so much for the wonderful explanation, because the bigger picture is getting more better and clearer. So my question it's on mitigation plan. Definitely when you must have established or create a risk law, and this mitigation plan or whatever information you must have gathered for your risk dependency issues, are you meant to discuss that with the project team and stakeholders? Or are you creating them alone and then you present it to them before implementing these mitigation plans?
Okay. So when we have rates log, the reason you are keeping your rates log, especially the risk and the issues, is to be able to raise it to your stakeholders. It's not for keeping purposes.
Okay.
The mitigation plan you have is to show them that you, as a delivery manager, you've done your bits. But you cannot undo this. Or your bit has handled this aspect. This is what is left. So it's not for you to leave it. You have to discuss it. And that's why we do reports. If you were around when I was teaching the team about reporting, I said to them that their risk, issues, and whatever they have must be put with the report at the end of every sprint.
Okay.
And they must present it to the stakeholders so that stakeholders will know. Okay, for example, when I was at Barclays, I was reporting directly to my portfolio manager. And he would ask, in fact, he wants report from me every week. So once I sent reports to him, Abdullah, he would not talk. But if he sees anything that he's not happy with, he will call me straight. Femi, let's talk. The moment he said, Femi, I know that there's something he's not happy with. Say, Femi, I was reading in the report. You said this. Hey, and say, Abdullah, I pointed this out to you before. It's important you know that this is happening. If we don't do anything about it, this is what's going to happen. This is what's going to happen. This is what's going to, and that's why I've raised it. Guess what? I've covered my back. Do you understand?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If I don't raise it, I'll be the one they will blame. There was a day I got into the office on a Monday morning, and I saw Abdullah raising voice on one of the program managers. Say, why did you do that? Why did you do that? And I was like, what's going on? I said, Femi, Abdullah is raising voice because of the report you gave him. And I said, why? So he said, Femi, what if you didn't tell me? You didn't say anything. This is what I keep saying. Why are people waiting? This is Barclays. You want to destroy us? You want to destroy this? Do you understand? Huh? Because it's important for them to know in good time. That's what I'm trying to say, Dale. If you don't tell them in good time, they will not be able to do something about it. But once you raise it and they know, the burden is off your chest. The responsibility does not lie with you anymore. Your mitigation plan is what you have been able to do about it that you've done. Okay? So don't keep the rates locked to yourself. It's for your stakeholders. All right?
Yeah.
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 Any other question?
My next question will be, Mr. Femi.
Okay.
Can you maybe in a summary give us the day-to-day real life of an ADM at work?
I believe I've done this again and again and again and again.
Maybe I wasn't
I'll do
there.
it. See, let me say this to you. For a good delivery manager, no 2 days will be exactly the same.
Yeah. Mm.
If you're a good delivery manager, there will never be 2 days that are exactly the same, except for those that are lazy, that would only go to work to sit down and drink tea or coffee. And they wait for people to come to them before they act. A good delivery manager does not just wait.
Mm.
Your daily routine, you would attend loads of meetings. And you would have a lot of reports to write. You have meeting notes to take. And yet you must do your work. All the things that I've been training you, planning, coordinating, they are part of what you will do. Those are your main things, but they would almost kill your life with meetings. Many times I am back to back with meetings from morning, because as this one wants your input, that one wants your input. When I was with Metro Bank, I was a program manager. I was managing the entire program of replatforming for them. And it got to a point that all the meetings people invite me to, I was just turning it down because I didn't want to die young. Some people will book meeting for me till 7 p.m. So I had to tell them, what's going on? But I can only do that because I had the position, the power to do that. If you are just a scrum master or somebody that is under them, you can't say no to your boss.
No, no choice.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
So you would have meetings upon meetings upon meetings. It's important you check your emails properly. It's important you see that your team is doing what they are supposed to do. Make sure that their ceremonies are being carried out. You want to check that, your plan is still in place. You want to check that you guys are on track. So there are so many things you have to do. No 2 days will be exactly the same for a delivery manager. Okay? But there are things we need to take one at a time.
Yes. In real life, when you get a job, are there, I know of a Scrum Master, we have done that, but as an ADM, are there possibility that you are giving opportunity to maybe do observation for 1 month or 2 months to understand the flow of things in the organization within your roles and responsibility, where you know that, for 1 month, these meetings do take place, and for you to be able to fit in automatically when you have to kick off with your responsibilities, do these things happen? Because otherwise, how will I know as an ADM that there are meetings at this time, at this time, at this time?
Okay.
Maybe, okay, yeah.
No organization would employ you and expect you to just jump in.
Oh, good.
And if they do that, you make sure you behave maturely. Don't go and do Bebeto. Don't go and do Jackie Chan. Or, don't go and do macho. It depends on the job you get. If you get a permanent role, it's not the same as when you get a contract role.
Okay.
A contract role, they expect you to hit the ground running.
Okay.
As you get there. But even in contract role, they will need to do induction for you.
Yes.
And when they do induction for you, it is your right to be quiet and be watching them. You need to shadow somebody. The person that is leaving, we need to do handover for you.
Correct.
So you would ask for KT sessions. What did I call it?
KT session. What
You
does
know
that
what that means?
Knowledge
No.
transfer sessions.
Knowledge transfer sessions,
Okay.
KT. So once you tell them, oh, I would need some KT sessions, that means that person would need to give you like a 1 month transitional plan.
Okay, good.
1 month, 3 weeks, depending on how long the person has left before
Mhm.
leaving the organization.
Mhm.
Then the person would need to let you watch how they are coordinating their meeting currently.
Okay.
And then the person would need to transfer some of the rights to you.
Okay.
And when that person is leaving, before the person goes, you would need to set up meetings that that person already has in your own name so that that person can cancel his or her own meetings.
Mhm.
Does that make sense?
Very, very.
Okay. So that way you can edit things, you can do things the way it should be done. Any other question?
The journey is getting more sweeter. Yeah, I'm enjoying it.
That's good. All right, guys, can we call it a night then? All right.
Thank you. Really
Thank
great.
you.
Thank you
Thanks,
so much.
Femi.
So much. Very
Really,
motivating.
really good.
You're welcome, guys. You're welcome. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Bye-bye.
we're being called into the main room for Excel as well.
Okay.
Thank you,
No
Femi.
problem.
Thanks,
Cheers.
Femi.